punch and lands a solid hit on Zhou Yi. But of course he had dodged and was already behind it, jumping up with an axe in hand, landing a clean strike on the arm and saying he's going to disarm it first. And bro, he really disarmed it. The ice arm of the thing vanished. But this robot was no joke. Even with its arm ripped off, it still fired a laser from the same hole. That's when our boy realizes the energy the thing just used was the same as his. He's confused. Why is this creature constantly copying his abilities? And before he can figure it out, bam, a monster is already coming in for a hammer smash. The attack comes, but now our boy's golden hand appears too. Man, the attack is blocked, but a chunk of ice on the floor turns into a wolf. When Zhou Yi looks to the side, bro, the creature's already too close, goes straight in for a bite. With no time to use another power, our boy has to rely on brute strength to hold the monster's jaws open. But enough of that. Bam, he unleashes a burst of light and transforms, saying that now he wants to see that boss try to copy an angel's physique. Then we cut to someone placing their hands on an ID panel. It's our dear Jiang Shu, our succubus girl. She's all happy because it looks like she received a bunch of resources after joining that house. Finally, she can go back there and try to beat level 7. But the system apologizes and tells her to come back tomorrow. The robots today were too badly damaged. She doesn't get it. This is the freshman training field. Most people don't even get past level 6, so how could something like that happen? Even if it was brother Zhou Yi, she knows it wouldn't be easy for him to clear level 10. So who the heck is in there right now? In the battle, some chains started coming out from the Golden Gate. Zhou Yi thinks it's the final boss and says to the creature, "These chains once left me powerless, but now I'll share the agony with you." Oh damn, right on the wolf's head, bro. Man, I thought the chains were gonna restrain the thing, but no, they straight up shattered it. And now, just because I said they shatter, they went and restrained the other one, damn. He also activates the vision of light, which lets him detect the creature's weak points. And of course, his attack goes straight for those points. Our boy says he can see the power core in the chest. I mean, to be honest, right, it didn't really take a divine vision to see that huge glowing thing in the middle of its chest, looking like Tony Stark. Zhou Yi punches and creates a massive energy barrier. The robot has to initiate its self-destruct protocol to try to take him down with it. This one takes training seriously, man. That's when our dear Jiang shows up through all the smoke, while the systems announce that level 10 had been completed. She's all startled, wondering who the hell that demon is in there. But when she gets closer, her expression changes. She sees our boy from behind, radiating that golden aura. He's totally worn out, exhausted, while the robot congratulates him, saying his performance went beyond excellent. Zhou Yi, though, was thinking that because of that wolf, he ended up using way more time than he should have. He needed someone, or maybe a pet, around to handle those little distractions. Haha, someone's approaching. Super thick thighs. If you want to have her as a pet, just say the word. And there she is already walking up close asking, "Did you awaken your bloodline? How'd you get so strong?" The badass replies that yes, he awakened the 6-winged angel bloodline. Her eyes are all sparkling. She says she knows that one's extremely rare, basically a divine ability. She, on the other hand, has a half-decent succubus bloodline. It's a bit better, but still one of the weaker ones. Looks like he completely ignored what she said, didn't even try to say, "Nah, it's okay. You'll get strong too." He just walked off, turned around and said, "Let's go to the market and buy some pets." Poor girl, no chance for a girl in love. She just goes along saying she's coming with him all happy. Now outside, arriving in the pet area, a bunch of vendors are yelling, while she's pulling on her boy's arm asking what kind of pet he wants. He remembers that storm wolf he used that one time, but it disappeared after the fight. That's why he wants another storm wolf, if possible, one with talents like his. That's when someone with their hand on their waist walks up, saying if that's the case, he's got just the thing. The guy introduces himself as Liu Jixu, a third-year student and seller of level 22 creatures. The wolf he had for sale, he raised it himself. He can guarantee it's top quality. Jiang says this guy's a student at Kang University, so the pets he raises are definitely high quality. The guy then brings out the storm wolf, man. It's got one blue eye and one gold eye. What are the chances our boy doesn't take that one? The guy says, right, that this furry sewer rat has been alive for 10 days and its mother was a silver tier storm wolf, so clearly, it's a good one. Our boy answers humbly, man, not looking for no sewer rat. He just wants to know where the gold ones are, bro. He wants the top rank. But Jiaxu explains that it's really rare to find gold rank creatures when they're that young. Our boy says, alright then, he'll take a look at this big rat here. Jiang, though, comments, she's seen some other storm wolves and this one's way too small, probably undernourished. It's gonna be one of those cases where the thing's tiny for 2 days and then suddenly the size of a building. Jiaxu, all awkward, tries to say it's normal, that the little guy is just small for now but will grow soon and blah blah blah. But Zhu is already grinning, saying he's taking the black rat, while Jiang is all confused with that dumb smile of his. Right away, Jiaxu hands our boy a scroll, saying he'll give it to him for free, for only 60 points. Wait a sec, is it free or is it 60 points, you damn scammy vendor? That was what allowed him to make the contract. Our boy finds it pretty convenient. Yeah, obviously there was some trickery behind it. Jiaxu was selling the weakest one in the whole litter. He thought it was a loss having picked up this creature, but thank goodness, this dumb freshman showed up. Our boy places his hand on the scroll and says the command to awaken. What are the chances now that it turns out to be an insane creature? Jiaxu's face already changed. A black wolf appeared with a moon on its forehead, man. I think it's still small, but now it's full on swag. The pet experts nearby seem to recognize that this is the aura of a legendary creature. Meanwhile, Jiang is clinging tighter and tighter. Any minute now, she's gonna crawl under his shirt. Jitsu, on the other hand, is losing it. He sold a legendary creature for dirt cheap. The black rat jumps onto our boy's arm, and of course, it needs a name. And that's exactly what our spherical succubus girl says. Oh no, wait, you're calling it gray? The thing's black, dude. I'm not calling it gray. Ah, damn, I'll respect your wishes, Zhu Yi. Of course, right then, Jaisu comes creeping up, saying that unfortunately, he sold the creature at the wrong price. He was supposed to charge another 1,500, but hey, he could cancel the contract now and take the pet back, and still come out ahead with 300 points. The other vendors, though, are all laughing at him, saying the idiot sold it for way too cheap, and now realizes what a mess he made. And Zhu Yi, man, you think he's a fool. He says he's never heard of anyone asking for more money after his sale's already been finalized. The guy's shaking all over, and Zhu Yi tells him to go stop dreaming, man. What's up with you, kid? This talent of yours awakens some evil in your heart. Of course that clown Jaisu is still trembling, trying to figure out how he's gonna get out of this. He takes a step forward and already falls backward in fear. Our boy turns to his waifu and says he never wants to see that guy's face again. Meanwhile, Jiang, who's awakening her succubus bloodline, looks at the expression he's making and says, now that you've got gray, unfortunately, we'll have to see each other more often, so I can play with your pet. As he walks out of the pavilion, everyone starts murmuring. They just now remembered. That's Zhu Yi, the guy recruited by the Grandmaster. That's when a guy with flaming shoulder pads and red hair steps up, telling everyone to make way. Looks like he's the brother of the loser who just got wrecked. He's already begging for help. But man, he kicks him so hard, geez, even Zhu Yi doesn't do that to his enemies. His name is Liu Wucheng, and he tells his idiot brother to understand what it means for someone to have received a gold medal. He's lucky the boy just walked away, so it's best he disappear before things get worse. When he finds out Zhou Yi is the one who got the gold medal, the guy's already got his ham on his face, wondering what the hell he's done. Our boy, on the other hand, is observing Gray, watching the aura it's giving off. He wonders if this has anything to do with the Lucky Potion's effect, and whether it's still active. That's when suddenly, someone knocks on the door. It was the guys from the northern region, right? The ones he helped before, bringing the reward he had been waiting for, the Ice Lotus. Right away, Zhou Yi accepts it and thanks the captain. They place the box on the table, and when he opens it, the lotus is inside. Now he could combine the lotus with the grass to finally form the frozen pill. He clicks to craft the item, but it's so rare that he needs to hire a pill master. Unfortunately, that's not something so easy to deal with. The scene then switches to the pill department. He's arriving there among giant furnaces and finds a receptionist. He wants to know if this guy Yitan is around. The girl explains that he's on a date and that she's his student, known as Lim Yi. She says all he has to do is tell her which pill he needs forged, and she'll take care of it. Right away, he shows her the ingredients and says he needs an S-class pill. She's shocked, since those are extremely rare resources, and she wants to know how a freshman like him has that kind of stuff. The humble boy says it's all just luck. She then tells him that since he already has both ingredients, he just needs to pay 800 points. That's the cost of production. He leaves his contact info and is told to come back later for it. Numbers are exchanged, and the scene cuts to one of the university's corridors. Two guys are chatting about how they heard that creatures from other worlds started showing up in several places. Zhou Yi is listening in, and one of them also says that apparently most of the frontline fighters had to retreat. That's because the creatures are spreading all over the world, and there aren't enough people to handle them. As he takes his seat, Zhou Yi knows these reports are going to spread. It was inevitable. Then suddenly, someone taps him on the shoulder. It's Song Selan, glowing, outfit perfectly matching his too. She immediately says she was chosen by Master Wu Meng and from now on they're classmates, and asks him to take good care of her. All right. He offers his hand and says he hopes she'll take care of him too, but she replies that she's way too strong, so that's probably not gonna happen. That's when someone enters the room. It's our massive professor, as always welcoming the students and introducing herself as Su Mei. But before starting the real classes, she had an important announcement to make. As the rumors said, large-scale invasions were happening on every border. Even though the creatures that had appeared recently weren't that strong, the government had to take it seriously. Because of that, the resources allocated to schools like theirs were being multiplied. And also, the rewards for missions they take on would be increased. Everyone's getting excited. Not only would they get more resources to grow stronger, but they'd earn even more when they succeeded in missions. That panel right there was just the artist showing off his skills drawing Su Mei. The guy's getting good at illustrating that lady. She then asked everyone to calm down and stop focusing so much on the rewards. As students, their first priority should be getting stronger. Our boy is completely love-struck looking at the professor, thinking she seems to be getting stronger every day too. What kind of strength is she building up? Then she crosses her arms and says class is about to begin. Sometime after class, a few guys are talking. One of them says he challenged the goblin dungeon but got destroyed super quickly and lost tons of points. The blonde friend tells him to stop being dumb. He can't go around challenging nightmare difficulty places like that. Hearing all that, Zhu Yi knows that now that he's level 19 and no longer needs the Lotus, he doesn't have to go back to the north. A dungeon like the Goblin Abyss might actually be a much better place to farm experience. That's when he sees a shiny, radiant succubus standing in front of him. He calls out to her and she's already sticking close. I'm telling you, this girl cannot stay more than 15 centimeters away from him. She tells him that the school is increasing rewards in the realms and came to invite him to go along. Of course the rascal says yes, and now we're already in the dungeon. She asks what difficulty he's going to pick, and he says it's Abyss, obviously. The poor girl, gorgeous and a little awkward, says Abyss is way too hard. There's a huge gap in strength between them, and it's obvious she wouldn't be able to handle something like that. But now he's the king of minimum distance, pulling her close and saying she doesn't have to worry. If they're on the same team, he'll take care of everything. Just look at the face she makes, eyes a little crossed, saying that if he promises, then okay. But suddenly she gets all shy and steps away, saying she's feeling too uncertain and will start by trying the hard difficulty first. I thought they were already in the dungeon, but turns out they're still at the entrance, and there's a whole commotion going on. One guy is yelling, asking why Shiming Xuan, someone with Earth rank, is there. People around are saying he must be trying to break the dungeon's record to get some extra rewards. To Javier, though, this is just nonsense, so if he goes straight for challenge mode. Bet you anything our boy's gonna finish this dungeon in like 10 seconds. Then that other guy's gonna spend an hour in there and come out like, ha, I set the record, only to step outside and see he's in second place. As soon as Zhu Ye enters Abyss difficulty, everyone watching freaks out. Shiming Xuan says that all these extra rewards are making people way too confident. For choosing Abyss difficulty, the moment he enters, he loses 400 points. At any time, he could destroy the crystal to instantly escape. Looking around, he wonders if the goblins had destroyed the whole place. It looked like nothing but ruins. When suddenly, the first little goblin appears and immediately swings at him. Bro, in my other stories, goblins were all skinny. These ones are jacked. But for our guy, this is easy. He stops the attack with one hand and slams the trash into the ground. Seeing how many goblins are already charging at him, he starts to get excited. He came into this place looking for a real challenge. Hammer in hand, he smashes the first hit into the creatures. The hammer, though, is more like a sword, because instead of crushing, it ripped through them. But then, bam, the same scene repeats. He looks to the side, and there's another wave of creatures coming. That's when he starts to understand the difficulty here isn't in their strength, it's in the numbers, which means he's going to have to conserve mana. For now, he sticks to using low-cost abilities to kill the creatures. The good news? The XP is awesome. After some time, he had finally cleared everything. And as expected for someone already at level 19, leveling up was getting harder and harder. He at least hoped the dungeon rewards would help with that. He then opens the final boss door, the Goblin King, level 24, already talking trash. So the foolish human came here, but I have prepared your death. Obviously, the creature doesn't stand a chance, and Zhu Ye easily dodges the first strike. Still, Zhu Ye's impressed. Even though it's not that strong, it really wasn't something to underestimate. When the king looks up, bam, a huge beam of light hits him in the head, or almost. The boss activated a dominant body skill that formed a barrier. The creature even says it's impressive that a human could even scratch him. Seeing that physical attacks weren't working well, our guy whips a chain around the boss's back and completely restrains him. And right then he notes that for a boss, its magical resistance was shockingly low. So he blasts it with a Kamehameha. And that's the end of the monster man. Dungeon cleared. Just like he expected, he ends up setting the new record. And there it is, exactly what I said earlier, right guys? He already decides to keep running dungeons and pushing forward until he reaches level 20. Outside, people were talking about how this Abyss level was actually harder than they expected. No one had finished it until now. Jiang was feeling relieved that she'd picked the hard difficulty instead. While everyone was chatting, suddenly one of them points out something and tells the others to take a look. Someone had just set a new record. Javier had chosen Abyss difficulty and managed to complete it 100%. Most of the other players, right, had done like 88%, 83% because they couldn't kill the final boss. People were impressed, but someone else quickly pointed out that guy, Shiming Xuan, had entered a little while after Zhou Yi. As soon as that guy finishes, Zhou Yi's record is going to be gone, so it probably won't last long. But man, for Shiming Xuan, things weren't going that smoothly. He shows up in the middle of the arena, completely wrecked, staff destroyed. Someone helps him up, and he says this level was way too hard. Even with gold equipment, he ended up losing it all. Then he notices some kind of commotion going on and wonders what it's about. He decides to ignore it and go take a potion while his friend in front starts talking about that guy who went in right before him. The second the guy says Zhou completed the Abyss level, he flinches. In his mind, a memory flashes, a glow appearing behind someone. He walks up, thinking there's no way a level 19 freshman finished it. He's sure the guy must have cheated and wants to find out how. But the moment he introduces himself as rank 86, our boy completely ignores him, saying he's got other things to take care of. The dude's just left standing there with a fat face while Jiang comes up to congratulate our boy, saying that he really is incredible and that it's super hard to keep up with him. But Zhou pets her and tells her not to worry. He'll pass on all the tips so she can clear it easily too. Shiming Xuan, though, man, he's losing it over there. Or actually, he seems totally dejected while his friend tries to console him. Obviously, everyone around is roasting him now, saying that the elite guy just got humiliated and even with all that gear, he's still starved. And when our boy said he was heading back to another dungeon, he wasn't joking, bro. There he is again with Jiang. He's all cheerful, saying it's been a while since they worked together, while she's all flustered, remembering that day when he used the light punishment move and wiped everything out. She says she got cornered that time and almost didn't make it out alive. Our boy says it was an honor saving her. Sneaky guy, huh? Trying to get something or not? That succubus girl's gotta work too, my guy. Right then, the goblin horde shows up, and he starts giving her tips, saying to conserve energy, since they're weak, but come in huge numbers. She thanks him and pulls out a big old sword while he activates his buffs. The first goblin rushes forward and he says, I'll handle this one. One hit. Classic hammer attack that slices instead of smashes. She's impressed. Thanks to his buffs, she felt like her strength had doubled. She charges in and lands a heavy slash. At least her sword slices too, not just crushes. She keeps farming easily, saying that with Zhu Yi's buffs, this dungeon was a joke. They keep grinding, and before long, they're face to face with the boss. The creature gives its usual pre-fight speech while Jiang asks how exactly he beat the Abyss-level boss. He explains that the creature has super high physical resistance, but when it comes to magic, it's pretty weak. Right away, she gets ready, knowing that since magic is the key here, she's gonna have to bring out everyone's favorite bloodline, right guys? The succubus bloodline. Bam, she lands a clean cut. The attack hits the monster directly, and it responds that she really does have an impressive demonic power. Too bad though, it still wasn't enough to take it down. I thought she was gonna go through that same badass transformation from the other day, but actually she's just there defending herself with her sword, apologizing. He tells her not to worry that he's gonna use the same technique as before. He uses light punishment, but this time the monster manages to defend itself. He's surprised, after all, he just killed this thing before and it was easy. So he says that, unfortunately, he's going to have to go all in now because things have gotten out of hand. He launches an attack with his chain, but the boss tears through it. Now Jiang's panicking, saying it's all her fault things got complicated and she doesn't know what to do anymore. In the middle of all this panic and looking wonderful, something starts to awaken inside the girl man. A voice inside her says she's too weak. The badass bloodline starts wrapping around her, telling her that she's so useless she can't even win with Zhu Yi helping. If she really wants to help in this situation, she needs to use the true power she has. And then, bam, she seems to awaken something right at the moment the boss breaks free from the chains. It comes charging in to smash Zhu Yi, who says it looks like he's going to have to activate his own bloodline. But then, slash! A cup goes flying and slices off the boss's arm, bro. When our guy turns around, one of her badass wooden sandals comes flying too. He turns to see what the heck Jiang Chu just did, while the boss is standing there with his arm up, bleeding everywhere. Guys, she awakened the artist's talent. I mean, the succubus talent, right? She's even talking in a little speech bubble with a heart in it, telling Zhao Yi not to worry. She's got this. The boss, poor thing, is already dealt with, lying on the ground bleeding. But from where the slash came, it looks like a curse is spraying across his body. And she just keeps evolving. Whoa, easy there, warrior queen. The monster writhes in pain while she seems to be absorbing all of its demonic power, saying she won't stop until not a single drop remains. All we can do in a scene like this, man, is admire that panel the artist poured his soul into. Meanwhile, Zhu Yi is just like us, eyes wide open, staring, taking it all in. Then a voice from the dungeon congratulates her, and she earns 23,000 experience points. Bro, she's there with her hand over her mouth saying she finally killed that annoying boss, and Momo never wastes time with 35 minutes of still images. Okay, I dragged that scene out, but hey, there's another panel that definitely deserves it. The girl is dangerous now, like a car crash. Airbag straight to your face as she steps up to Zhu Yi, now only 2 centimeters away, wanting to know why he's not saying anything. And what's this? Her succubus tail just attacked. Our boy thought about stopping her, but too late, she's already grabbed his hand. He tries to pull back for a second, trying to explain himself, when suddenly, he activates his bloodline. He uses that calming buff to try to keep it together and asks if she's really the Jiang Chu he knows. And that's when she catches the Chaves syndrome, bro. From 1 second to the next, she drops to the ground all shy. I think she realized what she was doing. Her power starts fading and she gets all awkward, apologizing, trying to explain that it was all because of the succubus bloodline. Our boy lifts her chin and says it's okay then. He thought she'd been possessed by a demon. This couple is complicated. When she wants it, he doesn't. When he wants it, she doesn't. He tells her to get up so they can get back to farming. That's because he's sure that once she gets used to the demonic power, she'll be able to handle all of this on her own. While he's thinking about their next steps, people outside are once again complaining about how hard the Abyss level is. And once again, the message pops up that our boy broke the Abyss record, the one he himself had already set. A little while later, another record. A few minutes later, another record from Zhu Yi and another from Jiang Chu. The poor folks watching are already holding their heads in disbelief. They say there's no way, there's just too big a gap between them and these geniuses. Once more, the poor Goblin King got taken out, this time by the combo of Zhu Yi's chains and Jiang Chu's attacks. And there she is already saying it looks like there's gonna be a fireworks show and asking if he wants to go watch it together. After all that farming, man, the poor guy's exhausted, so he says yes. In the streets of the Elemental Hall, even though lights are powered by magic, the couple's broke and just wandering around while Jiang Chu thanks him for all the help he gave her today. She gained a ton of experience. He says he didn't do much, it was just a little push. Then they stop in front of the statue of Wei Yang, a mage who once stopped an entire legion of demons all by himself. In life, he was considered a deity. Our boy turns to her and asks if she knows anything more about the Dark Era and asks her to explain. She says that in the year 2544, tons of talented classes started appearing, and that period was considered a golden age. On the front lines, they had countless legendary heroes and humanity was no longer at risk. But that's when the era known as the Dark Age began and creatures started invading every corner of the world. Those considered the Golden Elite gave their lives to save the world and eventually took back the land, securing the peace people enjoy today. The problem is, if something like that were to happen again, humanity might not survive, because we're no longer in that golden age full of legendary heroes. Zhao Yi places a hand on her head and tells her not to worry. The creatures showing up in the rifts aren't that strong. She smiles back, saying she's sure everything will turn out fine. People are recovering and humanity is getting stronger by the day. That's when the fireworks start. And of course she grabs our boy's hand, pulling him to go watch. Oh, come on. All this little romance build-up and nothing ever happens. I miss our Chen Yuan from A Perfect Life, bro. 2 chapters in and he was already playing League of Legends with the professor and the prettiest girl in the university. Sometime later, I think our boy's heading home. He's bummed that he doesn't have the professor's teleport skill. That's because he wants to get home fast to deliver the pill to his sister. But to be honest, it's been a few chapters now with that pill just sitting in his inventory, right? I don't think the urgency's all that serious. For some reason at home, his sister is drawn like a tiny little dwarf, wondering where her big brother is. Dr. King pats her head and says not to worry, he'll be there soon. And the door opens. And who's walking in, huh? It's the Chad, full swag, saying he's back. She jumps up and hugs him, and he's impressed. Her condition seems to have improved. She's way more energetic. Bro, seriously, last I checked, wasn't this girl in a wheelchair? But whatever, man. The doctor's happy to see our boy again. He says it's been a while since he last saw his sister King. She asks how long he's staying, and he says 3 or 4 days since the tournament ended. Man, I'm still confused. Why is his sister so small now? Am I going crazy? In the early chapters, she was like shoulder height. Now she's there smiling with that little psycho face of hers, asking if he brought a gift for his cute little sister. First, he pulls out a horn that summons a gold-rank ghost to protect her. She gets all happy and he pats her head, saying that once she's fully healed, she'll be as strong as him. Still can't accept how tiny they made her look now, but whatever. Then someone rings the doorbell and our boy opens the door. That guy, the same one who gave him the house, says he brought the priestess Zhou Yi requested. Madame Chu, who definitely has tons of healing stored up, says she came because of Secretary Xiao's request. Our boy thanks her and says he managed to get the pill. The secretary, though, is shocked, asking if he means the ice pill, which is extremely rare. He, a little embarrassed, says yes, but explains that later. First, he wants them to treat his sister. His sister, man, is clinging to his shin. She's so tiny, asking if this is really going to work. He gives her the pill and tells her not to be nervous. All she has to do is take it and her bloodline will awaken. Then she won't have to rely on him for everything anymore. Bro, did he just roast her or help her? What was that? Then he activates his aura and says he's gonna throw some buffs on everyone to help with the process. Off he goes. Blessing of protection, blessing of dawn, blessing of courage. Right away, his sister feels a strange power. Meanwhile, Madame Shui is stunned. She's a super high-level priestess, but not even her sacred power is that pure. He tells her to activate the formation, and she agrees. There's a little flourish with her hands and stretches her arm toward the sister, and boom, a pentagram forms under her feet. Then he gives the order for his sister to consume the pill, and she obeys immediately. A cold breeze starts coming out of her mouth and eyes, and a wave of energy spreads across the room. Is she finally gonna grow and get strong? Everyone in the room's freaking out, wondering if something's going wrong. But our boy says not to worry. He'll handle this. He enters her sacred form zone and starts buffing her to the max. He even forms some of his own frost energy, probably to support her somehow, and says this will be the last time she'll go through this process. After that, she'll have full control. She's wrapped in a blue orb and Madame Chui is right next to our boy, saying the hardest part is already over. Inside the orb, she looks like a ghost when suddenly she pulls a Kakashi headband move, man. What the laser beam explodes straight into the sky. Madame Chui immediately recognizes it as an extremely pure power. The awakening had probably finished. Our boy walks over to pat the little garden gnome and asks how she's feeling. All cute, she says she's sure the illness is gone. He praises her and tells her to check her stats, but she completely ignores him and instead summons a little blue bird, saying her talent lets her control ice. Not exactly a surprise. He replies that this already proves she has a really good bloodline. Then he starts thinking, he and she both have such strong bloodlines. Maybe they have some kind of insanely powerful ancestor. He asks Madame Chu to give his sister a quick check to make sure everything's 100%. The dude in the suit is already kissing up, saying that with this kind of evolution, they're gonna need even more resources, and he'll make sure stuff gets delivered to both of them. Our boy thanks him, and then thanks King Fi, the doctor who took care of her all this time. Then he asks his sister if she already has an idea of what class she wants to pick. She says absolutely, she's going to be a mage. While she's striking a pose, he says alright, when she hits level 10, he'll give her the class conversion book. Out of nowhere, she gets this kinda evil-looking expression and thanks him, saying that finally their power is going to be unleashed. Our boy's all shy while the other two look a little freaked out. Right away, Madame Chu starts casting healing magic, asking if this girl's gone insane. Apparently, when they were younger, they used to play around talking about dark powers, saying that one day they'd awaken them. Now our boy's all bashful again and pulls her aside, telling her to stop talking nonsense. Madame Chu, though, standing off to the side, seems confused by the power she just displayed. Sometime later, his sister says she's not gonna hold back anymore, and he better get ready. She summons the ice spirit and orders it to freeze everything in her path. Then she points her finger and sends an attack flying toward Zhu Yi. But Big Bro Man just lifts his barrier and stands there, Sigma mode activated. Then he says that since she's recovered, it's time for her to start practicing. But suddenly, she starts pretending she's sick again, saying that unfortunately, the cursed ice came back. And then he walks over with his power fully activated, and immediately she says she was just kidding. It didn't come back, nope. Sometime later, the poor girl is exhausted from training. But Big Bro has a healing spell. I'm not gonna say anything inappropriate, man. Back off, sis, come on now. You think I'm some kind of inane weirdo? Our boy shows her grade, saying he's the little pet he contracted and he's gonna stick around with them for the next few days. And now suddenly, the girl's back to being 1.70 meters tall. Oh my god, but it's rough out here, huh, artist? No, but don't fire this artist. Let him be. When Jiang transforms, the dude goes off. Now the sister's rubbing it in his face, saying how cute Gray is, but man, how is she suddenly the same height as him again? Oh my god. Let's just pretend none of that is happening. Now our boy's walking around the front of the academy. He's thanking Gray for the hard work he's been doing these past few days. What work, exactly? I have no idea. But what I do know is that the dangerously hot giant professor is showing up, and he wants to know what she's doing there. She immediately informs him that the national freshman competition is about to start, and each team needs 5 people. And of course she's there because obviously he's being considered. Not just considered, he's gonna be the team leader for the freshmen and has to build whatever team he wants. She shows him a list with the top 10 strongest students in that competition, excluding him, of course. He had to pick 4 people from that list, and if our boy is truly the Bravo, he'll pick 3 girls. He's not much of a thinker. He says, all right then, just give him the top 4. That's it. Miss Su tells him to think just a little more. It's an important decision, especially since the competition is long and people with high stamina tend to perform better. But the humblest boy in China says not to worry. If the opponents lose quickly, he won't take long. He's already glowing up with gray on his arm, saying he's confident. There's no way he's losing this. The poor professor doesn't even know what to say. Last competition, he was light years ahead of the other students. Maybe they don't even need a healer, since Yu Yai has some healing skills himself. So she tells him that in that case, she'll pass him the formation. She then asks how his sister's awakening went, and he says it went perfectly and thanks her for the concern. She looks a little happy, and he then asks for the class conversion book. She asks why, and he says it's for his sister. He feels like more and more creatures are showing up, and he's starting to feel an urgent need to make her stronger. She smiles and says he really is quite the cautious one. But unfortunately, it's not something that's easy to buy. Then she turns and wishes him good luck in the competition. But sadly, she has to leave because she's got things to handle. The poor guy is furious. She dropped that line and didn't even say where he's supposed to get the damn book. That's when his system notification appears saying that to buy a class conversion book, he needs to be at level 25, complete an A-rank mission, and reach top 10 in the Earth and Heavens ranking. He's panicking, man. Even the cheapest little book costs 20,000 points. It's not gonna be easy, but if he can manage it within half a year, that's good enough for him. Then the National Treasure mission appears for him. Obviously, the better his team performs, the better the rewards will be. Scene cuts to a school meeting. One guy says that Zhao Yi sent in the list of candidates, and he's going to announce the names. Right after the guy finishes talking, because let's be honest, I'm not gonna read 5 Chinese names none of y'all are gonna remember anyway. The chubby guy freaks out, wanting to know why there's no priest on the team. The red-haired guy says that's way too risky. One mistake, and they'd be eliminated. But the old guy says he doesn't think it's a problem. With Zhao Yi's healing abilities, that's more than enough to replace a priest. Of course, he can't say out loud that he's seen the boy's bloodline awakening and knows just how powerful he really is. Weirdly, the same chubby guy who was doubting now says, actually yeah, Zhao Yi has damage talent, tanking talent, support. I think he can handle it alone. The guy with glasses says that since there are no objections, it looks like they're just gonna trust that Zhao Yi is gonna pull it off. The redhead sighs and says they'll have to count on the kid after all. The director declares it's settled. Then the old lady asks Master Wu from the House of Wu to handle their training. Even though they got great potential, they still need to practice as a team. The guy says it's no problem. He and Miss Su will handle all of that. Cut to our boy in his room doing push-ups with 200 kilos on his back. To this day, he still does his daily training. Honestly, this guy's focused. For now, he's been choosing points as rewards to keep getting stronger. At least the man's self-aware enough to admit he's a busted protagonist. He literally says, it's so easy to stay above everyone using this little system. Next scene, he and Wang Hui are looking around, man. Our boy sees they're surrounded by a bunch of forest wolves, level 23. Wang explains that this private forest is a training ground his guild owns. Suddenly, a dragon flies across the sky, and all the wolves freak out. The creatures scatter, and our guy asks what that was. Wang says that's a legendary level 62 dragon, a magical pet of the senior who protects the forest. Our boy is still shook. If the pet is level 62, what's the master's level? Wang Hui replies that the senior is level 64, but his compatibility surpasses even that. That's why he handed over the TMU guild to the guy without hesitation. Zhao Yi's stunned that someone could be level 64 at 30 years old. That's truly insane. To be fair, ever since our guy hit level 19, it's been ridiculously hard to level up. So if this dude's already in his 30s and at level 64, yeah, he's the real deal. Then Wang Hui tells him to pay close attention. He's going to teach him a special skill. A beam of light shoots up into the sky. He activates Heart Shield. 2 giant walls appear, so huge I can't even really tell what's going on. I don't know what happened. Zhao Yi doesn't know what happened, but the whole forest got wiped clean. And the teacher says that's the first technique he's going to teach him, the Sacred Heart Shield. To learn the basics, he has to connect his consciousness to the skill book and use skill points. Now that we've got the skill description, I finally get how it works. 2 giant shields appear, one on each side, and slowly close in. Our boy unlocks the skill at level 1 and is curious how Wang Hai even has something like this. Wang explains that this specific technique was created by his master back when he was still a holy knight. He inherited it, and now he's passing it on to our boy. Then he tells him to give it a try, and off he goes, man, activating Heart Shield. Of course, his shields are way smaller. He commands them to close in, and boom, the explosion happens in front. The teacher praises him, saying it's amazing that he managed that much destruction with the skill at just level 1. He tells him to master it well, because this technique will be essential for team fights. Suddenly, the dragon descends, and lands right on Wanhui's back, saying that now that our boy's got the ability, it's time for a more practical lesson. The dragon, in fact, was going to command all the surrounding creatures to attack our boy. And the amount of EXP he get, obviously, right, would depend on how well he performs. The dragon lets out a roar and all the creatures around start reacting. Trees start falling over immediately, and the first bite comes straight at Zhao Yi. But of course, he hits back with a famous cutting hammer blow. As the monsters start closing in, he activates all his buffs. A stomp on the ground, and boom. He's on the first monster's face, activates the ice power, explosions everywhere. Hammer to the head, chaos all around, man. Not long after, he's completely exhausted. Wanhu congratulates him for going all out. He can't believe the boy used all of his mana and energy. What was he going to do if more monsters appeared? Our boy gave the obvious answer, "You're here, bro. If I'm about to die, you'll help me, right?" Then chose a potion like a champ. That was rough, but farming EXP at this pace was awesome. And just because I said leveling up was hard, look at that. Dude hit level 22. He's there striking a teen magazine pose, all seductive, talking about how he's gonna allocate points into that new ability he just got. Wanhui praises him. He thought the kid would kill around 100 monsters, but it was over 400. Looking toward the horizon, he tells the boy that as his student, he better do well in that championship and keep up the confidence. Our boy says not to worry. He already guaranteed first place. Scene switches to the Storm Forest at a rest base. Over the loudspeakers, it's announced, the National Freshman Competition is about to begin. Over 280 schools are participating. Who's going to win? Two girls watching are already freaking out, wondering why Suhang University showed up without a priest. Two more approach, saying that's because they've got Jie. Duh. Those ones believe in our boy. Seeing people talking trash online, saying he's gonna lose, they just laugh. Clearly, those folks don't know who they're dealing with. The thick-thighed samurai chick tells her friends to go fetch their orders while sipping a drink, saying she's sure that with that guy, their victory is guaranteed. I think they're saying they because they're all from the same university. Meanwhile, our boy is wrecking those level 10 training robots again, man. Each day, it's getting easier. Problem is, the easier it gets, the less it's helping him train. So he's gonna have to ask Professor Su for help. The badass is calling him at that exact moment, saying their training is about to start, and he better come now. He's hyped, says he's excited to show everything he's been practicing. He heads toward a door, and on the other side, people are shouting, saying they can't wait for the match. When our boy walks in, it looks like it's the team he put together, right gang? The succubus, now a little calmer, walks up and says she's been waiting for him. Our boy greets the chief and Miss Su, and then the guy says he'll introduce their new teammates. Another girl joins the team, wearing high-rise undies and a shredded six-pack, a level 18 warrior named Wei TXC, who thanks him for the invite. Right next to her is a thick mage, level 18, named Tang Ling Kase. Am I going crazy, or does she kind of remind you of his sister? Then the chief says he didn't expect our boy to have grown so much with Wanhui's help. They're shocked he's already level 22. He says it's all thanks to the master's support. Then the chief says he'll get straight to the point. To help them prepare for the national exam, he himself will be their training partner. Today, the focus would first be on team coordination and combo skills. After that, they form a party to challenge the Abyssal Goblin Dungeon. Man, he already did that one solo, did it again with the other girl. It's gonna be way too easy now. Tangling C, the little blue mage, is all shy, saying she's only level 18. Now she gets why this place is gonna be kind of embarrassing for her. She's walking right beside him, thinking there's basically no way she could lose in this dungeon with him around. Our boy notices her looking and throws out a cheeky smile. AIA, this dude's feeling himself. She is a little flustered and runs ahead, and he wonders if he's that ugly or something. Then they're teleported in, and our boy says, since it's our first time working together, let's go over a few tactics first. Abs Girl will focus on defense and drawing aggro. Jiang Chu and Ling Xe will handle physical DPS, while he and Song She Lan stay in the back to support. Everyone says they got it, and the first goblins appear. They get ready, the creatures charge in, and Abs Girl steps right up, throwing down a full-on brawl. A punch to the ground launches the goblins into the air, and she's stunned by how much energy from our boy's buffs is flowing into her. God's blessing, blessing of protection, dawn blessing, courage blessing. Tangling Stassi is blown away that he can cast so many buffs without even prepping anything. Even she, a trained mage, would struggle to keep up with that speed. The ice bird she summons starts distracting the goblins. Jiang Chu takes the opening to slice right through them. Our boy tells everyone to watch out for precise attacks. An arrow flies in, but the tanker jumps in and blocks it. Looks like some different monsters showed up, probably because other challengers are active too. For Zhu Yi, this was perfect. More challenge means more growth. Light punishment blasts through the middle of the mob. He says to chill. He'll handle the ranged ones. The two girls thank him, and Song She Lan says she can't slack off either. She fires off some talisman scrolls that stick to a goblin and explode the entire area. Outside, the director and Miss Su are watching. With this level of sync and power, this tournament was basically in the bag. Meanwhile, Miss Su can only comment that Zhu Yi just keeps growing non-stop. Yin Jiang alone already had multiple dungeon records. The boss says he knows that very well, which is why this time the dungeon difficulty has been cranked way up. Back inside, Jiang Chu is struggling a bit, surrounded by a swarm of goblins. But she activates a Shadow Slash and clears them out. The Talisman Girl summons the 5 Thunders of Justice, while the Ice Mage unleashes a Frost Tornado. Come on, The buffed-up brawler is flying around punching, jump-kicking, roundhousing, going full anime. She's amazed at how insanely different everything feels thanks to our boy's buffs. Then Tangling comments that finally the goblins are done. But our boy warns, that was just the warm-up, don't let your guard down. YTXI says not to worry, with double the strength, she's got this. The girls all agree, it's easy mode with these buffs. But our boy, deep down, is wondering if he really picked the right team. Oh, come on, you rascal. Don't pretend. The second you saw it was 4 girls, you picked the top 4 immediately. Don't lie. Next scene, they're standing in front of the boss door. But this time, Zhou senses a different kind of energy. He has no choice but to move forward, so he opens the door. This time, it's the second Goblin King, level 25. He says, so the children have finally arrived. The girls are shaken. A level 25 legendary boss is way too much, even for them. The boss says that since he knew guests were coming, he prepared a few presents. He raises his staff and starts charging up a massive fireball. Seeing that the mage is already panicking at the amount of mana packed into that thing. She just stood there like an idiot, and YTXI had to jump in front to protect her. Problem is, her shield got shattered. Even with double the strength, thanks to the captain, she didn't stand a chance against something like that. The boss says he's been preparing this place to be all their graves for a long time. Another fireball is launched, and this time they had no way to defend against it. Of course, the Chad shows up with full calm, right? He activates his ice bloodline, Bro, raises a massive shield. The mage, though, says to be careful. That's not your regular fireball. She draws in some of the boss's energy and realizes, yeah, his power is on a whole other level from the previous one. Song Xia says it's time they go on the offensive. The boss gets surrounded by a bunch of talismans and she launches him into the sky. Man, explosion happens. But of course, the creature just absorbs the flames and thanks her for the meal. Poor girl has no clue how one of her most powerful attacks did absolutely nothing. Tang Ling tries again. Poor thing. She's got 0 chance. Jiang Chu, I think it's time to activate that succubus power, huh? It's not easy out here, my warrior queen. How about you awaken that busted bloodline already? All the girls' attacks combine and fly toward the boss, but he slams his staff into the ground and raises a barrier. Then he charges up a mouth attack, fires off a laser in their direction. Tang Ling immediately realizes the level gap is way too big. Honestly, yeah, these girls are all level 18, and this guy's 25. But here comes a golden light, blocking the attack. Our boy raised the shield and neutralized the boss's power. YTXI's fearless man says she's gonna fight him head on, but he just puts a hand on her shoulder and tells her to stay right there and be quiet. Dad's got this. Activating that ability that lets him read monster stats, he sees it. This boss is just 1 level higher, but has double the stats. This madman strikes a pose like he's doing a Team Magazine photo shoot again, saying it's time to activate the secret bloodline to double his stats too. A sphere of energy appears, and when it fades, boom, final form unleashed. Outside, Professor Sue is legit scared now, like anyone want a private lesson right now. She asks if this is really necessary, and the guy with her explains they have extraordinary power. But of course, so do the other universities. In this competition, only the geniuses survive. That's why they need to suffer now to have an easier time later. All right, suddenly, she accepts that, says it makes sense if that's the case. Back in the dungeon, the boss says the kid can use any trick he wants, it won't make a difference. But Zhou just starts prepping an energy sphere saying, as you wish. He combines his 2 bloodlines to unleash the radiant pulse attack. The energy shoots toward the boss, who sets up a shield, calls the boy arrogant. Now it's full on explosions, meteor showers, apocalyptic fireworks from the kid's bloodlines, just flashes and energy beams everywhere. Pillar of energy to the sky, the girls trying to shield themselves. Everyone's confused, like what the hell is happening? Jiang comments that not even she's ever seen this much power. He's clearly going all in. But the boss is still standing, saying it's no use, the boy can't win. And Zhao Yi just keeps walking forward, extends his hand, and the chain attack wraps around the monster. The thing's immobilized from head to toe, and from the ground, lances of victory rise up. At the same moment, he triggers a firestorm, and the monster is trapped in a burning cyclone. Our boy's grinning. Not over yet. Charges in, smashes the boss in the face, activates another ability. My god, how many more does this guy have? The poor boss is already apologizing, saying he wasn't strong enough to entertain the kid. Looking like a full-on One Punch Man episode now. Zhao Yi says he wanted to test this 6-wing angel ability, but that'll have to wait for next time. He stretches out his finger and says goodbye to the boss. Boom, fires one last shot at the creature. Outside, the university headmaster is already thinking he's the real monster. That creature was designed so that a full team of level 26 players would struggle with it. He then asks Miss Sue if she has the training data for the boy. She replies that yes, just today he cleared level 10 in 6 minutes and 12 seconds. The headmaster smiles and says, well, that explains it. He really is different. Look at that different right there, man. The little system handing him rewards again. And since the girls were part of the party, they all got EXP too. One run through this dungeon with our boy was worth more than a whole week of training. Zhao Yi finally powers down, gets 11,000 EXP. Someone comes running. It's Jiang Chu, asking if he's hurt. Sadly, she still hasn't awakened her succubus bloodline, to everyone's disappointment. They head over to the boss chest, and the first items they get are a level 24 staff, a level 24 fire spirit shield, a level 24 magical fire ring. All of them were gold rank items worth a fortune. Our boy says it looks like they got lucky. He asks if the girls want them, but well, poor things, they're all still level 18. They can't use this stuff. The ice mage, Yeah, a fire staff isn't gonna help. At the same time, neither our beloved succubus, nor the talisman girl can make use of the other gear. Our boy goes, "Oh, what a shame. Guess I'll just keep it all. Thanks, ladies." Kidding, he's humble. He says he'll put the gear up for school auction and then split the gold equally between them all. The buffed up girl protests, "No way. You should get at least 70%. You get everything." Song agrees, saying it would have been impossible without him, so he deserves the biggest share. But our boy insists splitting it evenly is better. That way they won't have to stress about points for a while. And Jang reminds them, when it comes to points, this guy's never lacking. Humbly, he tells them to use those points to prep for the tournament. They weren't just going there to win, but to defend the school's honor. The girls thank him and promise to train hard. They'll give their all. In the panel, the poor skinny ice mage looks like she got vacuum sealed into her outfit. With that, the mission ends. They reappear outside. The director shows up right away, congratulating everyone. They truly exceeded expectations. He puts a hand on Zhao Yi's shoulder, saying, "You always surprise us." All shy, Zhao Yi says he just did what needed to be done. The guy asks if he's confident about getting first place. Zhao Yi says, yes. Then he smiles, saying he can't wait to see them become champions. Miss Su then explains the strategy. In the early rounds, they'll try to win without Zhao Yi using his bloodline. That way, the other teams won't know what he's capable of. When the right time comes, they'll catch the strongest opponents off guard by revealing his true strength. The director says that's the perfect strategy to catch people unprepared. That Miss Su says they still need to practice to improve their teamwork. With that, the day wraps up. He tells them to rest. But to keep their passion for training, they've prepared some disciplinary measures. Zhao Yi wants to know what that means, but Miss Su walks off saying, "It wouldn't be fun if you found out now." Our boy turns to the team and says they'd better keep practicing. As usual, near the dungeon entrance, there are still folks struggling, unable to clear it. But when Zhao Yi's group shows up, oh man, always walking in with an entourage. People are already recognizing them. Those are the freshman reps. Problem is, they're shocked. Back when they were freshmen, the highest level person was level 19. But in this group, the lowest level is 20. Whoa, looks like they've been leveling like crazy and no one even noticed. The others check the ranking list again and see that Zhao Yi's dungeon clear times just keep getting faster. Once again, inside the dungeon, the boss sends out another attack. But now, no one's afraid anymore. YTXI charges in and punches the boss in the face. She's confident, but the boss replies, "The weak will always be weak." The bit of progress she'd made wasn't nearly enough. The boss moves to crush her with a massive punch. But bam, a tiny but mighty fist from Zhao Yi shatters the boss's arm. He compliments them for blocking the first hit and says this time they'll fight as a team. The girls agree while the boss is over there, armless and knowing he's doomed. Chains wrap up whatever's left and our boy says, now this monster is gonna learn what it means to scream. Song Xialang covers him in talismans. Tang Ling throws out an ice tornado. Zhang slashes in with a clean sword strike, decapitating the boss. The creature drops and boom, new record broken. The director appears again, congratulating them for finishing in under 9 minutes. Our boy wants to know why the guy's even there. He explains that the first tournament match has been scheduled. It'll happen in 1 week. Time to begin true preparation. The girls are pumped. Finally, it's starting. They've been training all this time for this moment. Now it's time to reap the rewards after running this dungeon a million times. Zhao Yi, though, man's sick of it. He can't stand killing the same goblin one more time. Then the principal says he's going to take everyone through the school's secure teleport. They were going straight to the place where the competition would take place. When they arrive, our boys master and all the red-haired guys are there giving them a warm welcome. Wang Hu thanks everyone for coming and tells the students they'll have to carry the school's glory on their shoulders. But man, to be honest, he admits they've already won this thing 4 times in a row. Could have made a school that loses once in a while, right? But then again, that wouldn't make sense since our boy is the main character. How could he be in a weak school? Yeah, tough one. You're forgiven, little author. That's a complicated mistake. The little harem team all put their hands to their chests and say, you could count on us. Wang Hu tells the old man to prep the teleport and he activates it right away. The crystal lights up, the portal is open. And with that, Aang wishes everyone a safe journey. They all start to vanish and seconds later, they're already at King Jing University. Our boy is impressed by how fast it was. Poor dude probably doesn't even know how teleportation works. Man, they even brought our huge professor lady to give the boy some moral support. Then someone shows up to welcome the Sukang students to King Jing University. His name is Yang Chun, and he's an awakened mechanic from this place who says it's an honor to have them there. The head of our boy's university recognizes him, shakes his hand, and asks how he's doing. Yang Chun says he's good, then adds that the team they brought this time doesn't look half bad. Definitely not bad if it's a harem competition, huh, buddy? Our boy right there, surrounded by 4 badass girls. He says he's looking forward to the competition, then turns to our boy and the big professor, saying he has a few announcements. After a whole month training in dungeons, they had reached the peak of coordination. In the coming days, they wouldn't be practicing anymore. Instead, they walk around, learn how the different races mix, and see what's going on out there. Humanity is strong, but there are countless other races that also have their own geniuses. That was the message. They were dismissed and told to be careful. Later on in the little apartment where our boy would be staying, the robot greets him. Apparently, our guy had been leveling up but wasn't even using his points. He's already at level 23, but most of his skills are still in grade C and B. He wants to reach his 2nd awakening already, because then everything would go up to B+, including one more skill called Apocalypse Jewel. Obviously, all that is still far off, so for now, he'll just focus on gaining experience and doing well in the tournament. Sometime later, they're watching fireworks together to celebrate the start of the competition. The first to show up, man, are the legends from Sukang, and the whole crowd is cheering. Our hillbilly boy is amazed by how big the audience is, and Jang says it's gonna be twice as big once the fights actually start. Oh boy, they're already introducing Sukang's first opponent. The guys from Rongyang University are coming in, and just from the dumb looks on their faces, you can tell they're only there to get beat down. They're giving the usual speech about how there's no need to be afraid, since these guys always win. But today, they're gonna fall. But man, just from the way the artist didn't bother giving the guy even a single earring, you already know he's about to get wrecked. The crowd notices that the only guy on their team is level 23, which obviously means something's off. This is supposed to be a freshman competition. The badly drawn characters are thinking that even if he's level 23, this competition is based on overall team strength. I thought today was just gonna be fireworks, man, but nope. The tournament's actually starting. The Rongyang guys are already trying to go in using buffs and all, but the red-haired one tells them to wait. For now, they focus on defense until they figure out what the opponents were planning. But man, judging by his eye with the cross, you already know what's coming. I thought it was gonna be some bomb from our boy, but actually he's just buffing all the girls around him like a boss. I love that image, huh? You're looking badass in the middle of your harem, my guy. In the audience, everyone is shocked because obviously, he just buffed the entire team with a flick of the hand. Yangshan asks if he's really seeing what he thinks he's seeing. It looked like everyone's strength had nearly doubled. The head of Sukang says that's the power of the secret class, the Holy Knight. Now the guy finally gets it, right? It's not gonna be easy. Once again, they won't stand a chance this year. If anyone has to face this Zhu Yi, they'll have to take him out before he buffs the whole team. But for Rongyang University, who had no clue what was happening, poor guys, they weren't going to survive. The Rongyang guys, poor things, are already dropping their swords and asking their captain what to do. At least the captain has some perseverance. He says he can block them. Then Zhu Yi tells his harem that since the enemies look weak, the plan is for everyone to attack and break their defenses without revealing too much strategy. Man, our busty mage, Tanglin, said suddenly starts casting fire spells. She's probably using that staff and choosing her weakest magic on purpose to not give away anything important. Even so, the enemy captain is struggling to raise his shield and block it. At least he's there, acting kind of confident, saying that if this is the extent of their power, he can win. Then Wei T, the tank, comes in to throw a punch and breaks the guy's shield, at the same time that our favorite succubus lands a direct hit on him. Yep, man, 2 seconds later and the guys are already laid out on the floor. Tang Lin already says that was kind of disappointing and too easy. The team walks off and Song says she didn't even get the chance to use any magic. That fight was terrible. Our boy tells them to chill. Probably only Modi University and King Jing University would be real challenges. Poor Yan Chun as they're trying to figure out what kind of training created these little monsters. The captain laughs and says there's no training for that. What they can do today is the result of their own effort and natural talent. Poor Yan Chun just walks off saying he's going to try to come up with some strategies and they'll talk later. A while later, the leader tells the group that they have no more fights today, so they can rest. Su Mei, though, says there will be matches from other universities and it would be good to at least watch the stronger ones. Then the captain tells our boy to sign up for the individual competition too. He wasn't automatically registered, right? Since usually healers don't sign up after all, how are they going to fight alone? They just get beat up and heal themselves. Then all the girls on the team say they're going to join too. Some are excited, while the little mage in the back is kind of unsure, but she agrees. The guy laughs and says it's settled. Then, back in the arena, the one-on-one matches were about to start. The succubus is number 27 and Song is number 45. Our boy, though, is number 6 and will face a swordsman. But in the crowd, people are confused. How's a holy knight gonna take part in a one-on-one fight? Oh, they don't know we're harem king, huh boys? The first chump steps up to get wrecked. A swordsman from Yang University, level 18. Boring hair, plain outfit, no earrings, no tattoos, he's gonna get folded easily. Even the guy's own teammates are doubting him, especially since our boy is from Kang University. He raises his sword, activates some fire magic, and I'll admit, he's got a little bit of swag. He says if our boy surrenders, he'll lose with more dignity. But Zhu Yi, as humble as always, says if the guy manages to breathe 10 times during this fight, he'll be impressed. Before the dude can even reply, bam, he launches an attack. Zhu Yi dodges it, and the guy's already confused. When he tries to lift his foot to block, it's already frozen. And when he looks forward, the hit's already coming. He heats up his foot with fire to break free and throws another sword slash. But man, Zhu Yi punches the sword, breaks the blade, lands a hit on his ribs, slams him into the wall, and the other students already realize, right, they don't stand a chance. At that point, the old man from that guy's university already says that you really can't underestimate anyone from Sukang. And of course, the robot gives the signal. The guy couldn't continue the fight, so the winner was Zhu Yi. In the crowd, people are trying to figure out why a knight, who was clearly focused on buffing, managed to finish the opponent with just one punch. That pink-haired girl, her name is Zhu Yu. And since our boy is Zhu Yi, to avoid confusion, let's give her another name. How about Rosalia? Or Rosalia? You know, since she's pink, that works. And she's saying she spent some time at King Jing University and our boy has improved a lot since she last saw him. But honestly, I don't remember this crazy chick. Oh Yon Chun says our boy almost became a student at their university. Probably that girl from the beginning who took him up to the skies to bring him to her school, tried to kiss him too. She's wild, acting all holy like a saintly nun, but don't be fooled. Xiaolan, that huge green-haired one, also says she misses him and that he's a special kid, another girl who's impressed. That other one's name is Xiao Bai, and she notices it seemed like he had a bloodline. Apparently, she has an ice bloodline too, and it looked like hers was kind of resonating with his. Xiaolan asks what's going on, and Xiao Bai hides her arm, saying it's nothing. Then she walks off, saying she has some things to take care of, and they'll talk later. We then see someone receiving a call from Xiao Bai. A blue-haired guy answers and asks if today isn't the day of the competition, so why is she calling now? He then tells his father that he found someone with an awakened ice bloodline, and his name is Zhu Yu. According to her detection, the purity level was over 70%. The guy is confused, asking if that's true. That level of purity was extremely rare. She says she's sure, and maybe if she gets closer, she can confirm an even higher number. The guy says okay, he'll keep an eye on this Zhu Yi. While looking at his reflection, he says maybe this kid could be the one to save him. Back in the arena, the whole crowd is chanting Zhu Yi's name. The next group about to fight is super confident. The leader tells them not to underestimate the kid just because he's a healer. He senses an imminent danger coming from him. That guy in the blue jacket replies like, alright, chill. He's got a bit of swag, summoning machines, and gears and stuff. That puffed up girl on the right says she hopes Zhou Yi doesn't cry from how bad he's gonna get beat. Poor girl, right? Her team leader's about to be humiliated, and the crowd's all hyped. Looks like the girl's dad has already arrived at the competition, teleported in. Wait, hold up. The dad's here. The mom's here. The whole family showed up. Yeah, it's obvious. They're probably trying to use our boy to heal someone's bloodline, right? The dad says they're here to watch Zhu Yi. But the little girl with the cap says she has nothing to learn from a support class guy like a holy knight. The mom, though, tells her to pay close attention because he has an ice bloodline with over 70% purity. The girl, shocked, asks how that's possible. As far as she knows in their family, the strongest person only had 40%. The dad tells her not to tarnish the family's reputation by saying that about her brother. Then the mom tells her to focus on the match. The robot makes the announcement our boy steps into the arena, and this guy named Like Sin shows up. He says he originally planned to end our boy with an instant kill. Jiaobai is ignoring everything he's saying while activating his power to get a read on him, and realizes this guy should be underestimated. Still, the guy is level 18. Our boy is just being humble saying that. He's saying all that, but at the same time he's thinking that he can't show his full power because tomorrow he's fighting against Manhwa University. The countdown begins, and as soon as it hits 0, our boy immediately activates the Blessing of Protection. The guy takes advantage of that moment, saying he's not giving Zhou Yai a chance to buff himself and runs in to land a big kick. But our boy busts out some Muay Thai man, lifts his shin and blocks the first kick, then retaliates with an elbow right to the mouth. The guy's actually kinda tough, look at that. He didn't die in one hit. Oh wait, nope, never mind. He got launched far and exploded against the wall. Okay, he's still alive, folks. Not in good shape, but he's standing. You just can't understand how a holy knight has better fighting skills than him. Zhu Yi tells him he's misunderstanding things. He's not that good. It was just a lucky hit, just a bit stronger than normal. But then he charges in and hits him with a Jojo-style combo. The poor guy is trying to block, but his entire armor starts breaking apart. Zhou Yi comes in with a punch to finish the fight. The dude sees One Punch Man charging at him, throws his arms up and says he surrenders. Just in time, our boy shifts the direction of the punch so he doesn't accidentally kill the guy, ends up slamming his fist into the ground and exploding the floor. Even so, just from the shockwave, the poor guy gets launched like trash straight into the pavement. China's most humble boy is just standing there thinking how hard it is to hide the strength he has, while the other competitors still can't accept that a holy knight could have this much combat power. Zhou Yi, being a sweetheart man, goes over to his opponent and heals the guy. The nurses were arriving and he tells them he already patched the guy a little to save them some work. One of them thanks him, but after looking at the wrecked guy, she actually feels bad for him. She knew the fights would be rough, but that guy on the floor took way more than she expected. Then the blue-haired mom tells her daughter to take a look. That boy surpassed any genius in their family. The dad is analyzing it, saying that sending a fully armored opponent flying that far just with a punch, no weapon or anything, is insane. Meanwhile, the girl is all red-faced but admits it, he really is strong. So dad says that since she's admitted it, he's going to ask the mom to set up a meeting so they can talk with Zhu Yi. Meanwhile, our boy is thinking that our beloved Zhang is going to win easily. Some girl from Manhwa University is getting wrecked because, she's going up against our favorite. Girl, it's been a while since you awakened that bloodline. We're about to go through some tough moments so we can unlock a powerful ability later. But for now, that poor girl from Modu is just getting demolished by the Shadow Slash. The artist man drew like 80% of the panel as just her thighs before she hits the ground defeated. Yeah, man, Zhang's already moving on to the 4th round. Everyone's impressed with the white-haired girl. Look at the little couple walking around. He's praising her, and she's saying she got lucky because her opponent was weak. Then she adds that if she ends up facing our boy, she's surrendering on the spot, she's got no chance. But he tells her he wouldn't hit her. Suddenly, the blue-haired girl comes running toward our boy. That's when I realize this is the girl who made the phone call earlier, so she's not the mom, folks. She's the older sister of that little girl. Zhovi asks what's going on, and she says she noticed that he has an extremely pure ice bloodline. She says her family name is Zhao, and Jiang immediately points out that this is one of the ancient clans, just like the Jiang family she's from. They've been around for centuries and can't be underestimated. The only problem is, it seems like fewer and fewer members of their clan have been awakening the bloodline, and even the purity percentage has been dropping. The poor girl gets a bit embarrassed and says it's true. The girl seems to suggest that our boy is part of her family somehow, and he's understandably confused, asking, "How do you know I'm part of your family, you crazy girl?" She pulls out a stone that her father brought. It allows them to analyze someone's bloodline and determine if they belong to the Zhao family. The mad lad just decides to go along with it and takes the test. His bloodline purity shows up as over 90%, and even Zhao Yi admits he feels a strong connection between their bloodlines. Right away, the girl says her father wants to meet him as soon as possible, and our boy agrees. Everything's going a little too smoothly. Kinda sus. He waves goodbye to Jiang, who before leaving reminds him that her family is much more powerful than the Zhao family. Later on in the girl's room, the mood's kinda romantic. Look at that sunlight coming in on the two of them. But Zhao Yi is deep in thought. He's thinking that yeah, he has this so-called bloodline, but these people never helped when it came to his sister. Now that they've found out he has talent, suddenly they want to talk. He doesn't really know how to feel about it. Suddenly, the door opens, and her father walks in. The man introduces himself as Zhao Heng. He shakes his hand and says he's heard that Zhao Yi seems to be quite an extraordinary person. It's amazing to see someone with such pure bloodline. Oof, the guy gives him that evil-looking smile and a little cough. You already know some shady stuff is coming. He says that Zhao Yi's father and his own came from the same grandfather or great-grandfather, something like that. Zhao Yi responds with the obvious, but cuts him off, saying all that is in the past. The man then makes an offer. If Zhao Yi ever joined the Zhao clan, he'd get all the resources needed to train his ice abilities. His third awakening would come super fast, and he'd even receive a secret class. Zhao Yi's confused and says that he's already awakened the Holy Knight class. So what exactly would happen? Zhao Heng explains that there are ways he could forget about the Holy Knight stuff and focus on the ice abilities. With his purity, he could show the true power of that bloodline. But our boy remembers the angel, right? The one who first appeared to him, and ever since then he's been getting stronger fast. There's no way he'd just give up something that major. Obviously, the Holy Knight is a big deal, folks. So he asks the old man if he'll still get any support from the family if he doesn't change classes. The guy says yes, but not to worry. They had every book on the ice class available. Zhao Yi thanks him and says it's a good offer, but he refuses. The dad is already flaring up with aura, confused, saying it doesn't make sense. Once Zhao Yi changed classes and focused on ice, he'd become truly exceptional. That's when our boy also activates his aura man and says he's already getting plenty of resources from the university. Besides, he's not that worried about the ice bloodline. He's focused on evolving as a Holy Knight. The dad, however, tells him to think again. The Holy Knight is a support class and would never deal as much damage as an ice mage. Our protagonist did not like hearing his class called support and says tomorrow he'll show them all the true strength he holds. He says goodbye to both the dad and daughter, telling them they'll see each other in the arena. The daughter then asks her dad why he didn't try harder to get Zhao Yi to stay longer. He replies that soon enough the boy will understand the limits of being a Holy Knight. When he faces the raw power of damage dealers from other universities, he'll see the difference. At that moment, the younger daughter shows up and tells her father to stop chasing after this Zhao Yi. He's not even that important. The father says he'll explain it to her. The greatest ancestor of the Zhao family was the first person to awaken the bloodline and was someone incredibly powerful. Because of him, the Zhao family stayed at the top among the elite for many years. But when the dark times came, countless members died. Ever since then, the Zhao family has only been awakening people with much lower talent. The bloodline they carry today is considered cursed, and with each generation, it gets weaker. That's why, if they had someone like Zhao Yi around, everything would completely change. But for now, they didn't need to worry. At this moment, the boy was blinded by a streak of victories. Soon, he'd face a harsh defeat and understand why he needs their help. The younger girl asks what happens if Zhao Yi wins. The sister immediately tells her not to say that, especially because she's the one who'll be fighting him. And now we're back in the arena, and apparently, it's hard to get tickets. Zhao Yi's fights are the ones drawing the biggest crowds. The sister is there in the stands, and the artist clearly spent a few extra hours drawing those legs, With that, Su Hang's group is announced. Our boy casually swings his hand to the side and pulls out his cleaving hammer. Everyone's tense. This is the first time they're seeing him use a weapon. And of course, that clown of a dad already noticed. He seems way stronger than before. Maybe he had been hiding some of his power. A guy steps forward, he's level 22 and named Lai Yuan, and says there's no way Zhao Yi can win using a support class. Man, he's up against an archer and a priestess. It's a shame, but those fine ladies are gonna have to get smacked. In the background, there's even a group that has a bit of swag, That guy on the left, the artist must have spent at least 5 minutes drawing him. Maybe he'll do something. The captain says they only narrowly lost last year, but today things would be different. He plants his sword in the ground and tells his team to go all out, even if it means risking the opponent's life. In the crowd, Yan Chun is asking if they really think the kid can handle healing, buffing, and fighting all at once, but Su Hang's leader just says not to worry. He trusts the boy's strength. The glasses guy is getting suspicious. Maybe the kid really does have another card up his sleeve. Then our boy tells Jiang they're going with the school training plan. He'd charge in first, and he'd follow behind, cleaning up whatever was left. And well, if that's the plan, I don't think there's gonna be much left. Poor Wei TXI is standing there thinking she's gonna land some punches. Our boy tells the harem that if any of them get even a tiny scratch, just stay close and help toss out a warm heal. The robot announces the start of the match, and Zhao Yi charges in, already activating all his buffs. People think it's crazy for a healer to go in alone, and of course the guy from the other university is freaking out. The big archer is getting ready. she knocks 3 arrows and fires a barrage. She's using a skill called suffocating arrows, which pierce the target and are impossible to dodge. But our boy already dodged 2 of them, and now 3 more are coming straight for his head. Instead of dodging, my dude catches one mid-air and smacks the others out of the sky with his hammer. The poor girl is confused. He just blocked her entire attack with his hands. The enemy captain says it's interesting how he fights, but once their mage finishes casting his spell, things are going to change. Right then the mage finishes, flames start appearing, and a phoenix forms in front of Joye, breathing fire toward him. He easily dodges the first blast. The guy throws out another right after. But even as the massive barrage comes his way, Joye doesn't look even a little shaken. In the crowd, everyone knows he's about to try and tank the attack. That's insane. This spell was an ultimate. Rosalina, sitting close by, says that if he were smart, he'd dodge it. With the speed he has, he'd find an opening soon enough if he kept dodging. But Miss Su, sitting next to her, just chuckles. Rosalie asks what's going on, and Su Mei says she clearly doesn't know Zhao Yai if she thinks he'd run away from an ultimate skill. The fool responds that Su Mei's expression will change when the boy loses, but Miss Su says she doesn't think that's going to happen. Back in the arena, a golden barrier could be seen, and now it's getting confusing. It was the famous pillar of light shooting toward the heavens, man. Our boy had just activated the sacred flame bloodline. That alone was probably enough to wipe these guys out. Imagine if he used the 6-winged angel one. The mage, poor guy, I know he's got some kind of headgear that's supposed to show he's strong. But come on, man, you don't stand a chance. He's trying to strengthen his phoenix, but nothing's happening. Meanwhile, our boy's fangirls are hyping him up, saying the poor dude just didn't know the captain's real strength. Then our boy absorbs all the phoenix's flames, holds them in his hand, and apologizes for doing that. Unfortunately, his sacred flame allowed him to control any type of fire. The crowd is stunned, while Rosalie realizes that this sacred flame is a divine ability. The strange part is, even people who've gone through a 3rd awakening didn't have anything like that. Su Mei says maybe he's just a lucky kid. Geniuses often get handed opportunity after opportunity. But Rosalie is still confident, saying they've still got an ace up their sleeve to win this. The blue-haired girl, Zhao Heng's daughter, is sitting there wondering why everyone is so hyped about this divine skill. Her dad explains that a power like this can't be learned from any book. The only way to receive it is by being chosen by a deity, just like how the Zhao family was chosen by the ice goddess. They've always worshipped her and received her blessings. Now the poor guy's devastated. He finally understands why Zhao Yi didn't care about the skill they were offering. He had already been blessed by a goddess, which meant his potential was immeasurable. The daughter says it looks like they came here for nothing. But her father says no. After the battle, they'll try to talk to Zhu Yi. They can't just give up on their only hope to revive the family so easily. Meanwhile, in the arena, the mage is still trying to understand what happened to his phoenix. His teammate puts a hand on his shoulder and tells him not to give up so easily. If Zhu Yi was good with fire, they'd just try another element. Besides, this time he makes sure Zhao Yi couldn't dodge his blade. The sexy archer lets loose 3 more arrows while the mage raises a stone barrier. Our boy just stands there, letting everything come his way calmly, asking if they really think hitting him with everything at once is gonna make a difference. That's when he uses the ability he learned from Wang Hui to raise his shield. The poor girls on the other team are starting to get impressed instead of focusing on the fight. Then Zhao Yi says it's time he shows them he's got long-range attacks too. Before the mage can even shout for everyone to fall back, boom, a fireball explodes in front of him and a pillar of flames shoots up. The poor archer manages to roll out of the way, but she knows if that fire had hit her, she would have evaporated on the spot. That's when the knight asks where their mage went. The mage, poor guy, thought he could tank the attack and just use a barrier to protect himself. But Zhu Yi stretches out his hand and says he's giving back all the flames he stole from the phoenix. The guy's shield shatters and he's completely incinerated. His staff breaks and he's left there, smoking on the ground. Man, Zhu Yi is out for blood. He says it looks like this fight still isn't over. Right then, the enemy captain says it's time for them to all go in. And our boy is already charging forward, swinging his cleaving hammer. And to this day, that hammer that cuts still makes 0 sense to me. The captain's shield is knocked away, and though he stays on his feet, he now realizes Zhao Yi's strength is way higher than he had ever shown. But man, the captain's not backing down. He slashes forward, saying he's not weak. Zhao Yi just smacks the attack away with his hammer like it's nothing. That was one of the captain's Gogen moves to farm level 20 monsters. How did it get blocked so easily? He decides to charge again, but this time with a physical attack. Zhao Yi says that apparently the guy needs to come face to face to really understand the difference in their strength. They clash for the first time. Zhu Yi comments that it's expected for a captain to withstand an initial blow. But man, just looking at the captain's expression as he's trying to tank those hammer strikes, it ain't easy. His sword flies out of his hand and Zhu Yi is already on top of him. Just as he's about to land another hit, something blocks the attack. At the same time, a red light flashes from behind. It looked like some kind of electric bee or something. Zhao Yi manages to raise a barrier, but the shield gets broken. Still, he takes advantage of the monster bouncing off his shield to finish it off on the spot. The enemy captain turns to that guy, Xiao Xuan, and thanks him for saving him. Suddenly, that stylish dude speaks up, the one who's been hiding his true power since the beginning. But this boy, Zhou Yi, went too far thinking he could beat them all alone. The guy starts summoning his whole arsenal. Little robots, bees, tanks, you name it. Okay, I'll admit it, the guy's got swag. I told y'all he might do something. Zhao Yi's impressed that the kid's only level 19, but his robots are all level 21 or 22. In the crowd, the head of Kang University says now he gets what the ace in the hole was. Yang reveals that this kid has an S+ talent in mechanics. Anything he creates ends up being higher level than him. One of Zhou Yi's fanboys says that's really impressive. Now he's excited to see which talent will come out on top. Zhou Yi smiles and says it's interesting that he summoned a whole army of mechanical monsters, but it's a shame. He's been constantly training against things like that. Wang Xuan stretches out his hand and orders the army to attack. Torpedoes start firing, barriers go up, and a full-blown barrage comes flying at our boy. He activates his twin shields and seems to block it all with ease. Then he slams both shields together and crushes a good chunk of the robots. At the same time, a golden light flares behind him and he unleashes his sacred area explosion. The robots start evaporating, exploding one after another. Wang Xuan, poor guy, is practically crying. He says he used all sorts of bulletproof materials, but even that wasn't enough. He pulls out a virtual keyboard and says it's fine. He's still got something more. He summons another army and says that this time Zhou Yi has no chance. Finally, the girls jump in to help, breaking through one of the robots, while our boy glances at his system screen, thinking they arrived at the perfect time. Once again, a vortex of fire surrounds one of the robots, and when the guy tries to call for a retreat, it's too late. Everything gets vaporized. In 1 second, he loses connection with 74 robots. He had already lost a third of everything he could build, so he decides to go all in, summoning the Judgment Achex, a huge mech that appears behind him. This monster is a kind of giant dragon that starts firing hooks, grabbing the other creatures and absorbing them. With that, the summon powers up to max size and max defense. In the stands, everyone's being covered by the shadow of this Megazord the guy just pulled out. A legendary rank creature, level 23. There's a girl in a blue skirt who's super impressed, but honestly, I don't remember who that crazy chick is. Meanwhile, the captain of the enemy team is just stunned, saying their ultimate card has finally been played. He squints over at Jiang and mutters that at this point they don't stand a chance. But Jiang doesn't even blink. She charges forward, shouting that her big bro's not going down. Inside the giant robot, Wang Xuan yells for Zhou Yi to face the power of judgment. The first barrage of missiles is launched, but as always, our boy's standing there calm as ever. As the attack's about to hit, he dodges the first wave. But then he glances back, he can realize they were coming straight for his head. The slick little guy used a technique like dash here, dash there, and made the missiles crash into each other. Wang Xuan starts losing it, yelling for him to stop running and face the firepower head-on. Another wave of missiles is launched, but Zhou Yi just starts spinning his hammer, swatting everything down. Then the robot pulls the sword from its back and unleashes a slash that rips through half the arena. They even mocks him, asking if all Zhou Yi can do is run away. To him, Sukang University was full of cowards. Zhou Yi replies, "All right then," and says he'll charge in. But that was all part of Wang Xuan's trap, to lure him into an ambush. If a guy with no self-control like that was the captain, they were definitely gonna win. Wang Xuan swings his sword again, and our boy meets him with a hammer. The attacks clash, sending the mech's arm flying. At that moment, Zhou Yi activates God's hand, forming a golden vortex above the robot. Even the cameras recording the match start to lose power, saying their energy is being drained. More drones are deployed to keep filming it in real time. The vortex keeps drawing energy from everyone around, while our favorite succubus is in the middle of the fight herself. She runs over to Tang and says they'd better get out of there. Song and Wei Tai look at each other and realize, yeah, it's time to bounce, man. They start retreating, and the enemy team thinks they're scared. But when they stop and look up, they realize this power is not normal. Out of nowhere, a literal hand of a god descends from the heavens. Had he used this power before? I don't think so, right? This might be something new. The crowd's confused. Wang Xuan has no idea how he's gonna block that. Even though there was only one tier above his robot, the gap in power was massive. Still, the kid goes nuts again, shouting he's not afraid to die. He puts his robot into extreme mode, and the sword starts spinning, glowing purple. The hand's coming down, and he's just going wild, screaming upward. He fires off a rapid combo of slashes toward the hand. They seem to land, maybe. But when he looks again, boom, the hand's already come down and flattened the entire arena. The crowd shields their eyes as Zhou Yi comes in kicking. Poor Wang Xuan's lying there like a half-crushed bug. The girls on his team are already realizing it. They all just got destroyed. And our boy, not even a scratch. Didn't even have to hit the girls. A true knight, through and through. Wang Xuan is there, barely conscious, muttering Zhou Yi's name before passing out. Obviously, the fanboys go wild, screaming his name in the stands. The team walks out of the arena, calm and collected. Yangshan knows it now, there was never a chance they could win. Even with their secret weapon prepared, there was no way to expect a monster like Zhou Yi. He quietly exits, admitting that this year the Kang House really brought top-tier competitors. Honestly, it looks like it's the 5th year in a row Kang is gonna take the championship. This pattern's been repeating for a while. The headmaster laughs and the crowd celebrates. Meanwhile, our boy is walking out, surrounded as always. The girls are saying that match was way too easy. Jiang notes there's way more people watching than last year. With this fight being broadcast, Zhou Yi's name was sure to spread to the 4 corners of the world. Up above, a blonde girl is watching from a high platform, saying that Zhou Yi isn't bad at all. Looks like she's got her eye on him, saying he might be exactly what her guild needs. But the guy in the suit behind her says that in order to enter their guild, even the weakest members are at least level 30. So this kid, not qualified. She makes a peculiar hand gesture, saying all they had to do was train the boy, and even if the guild master didn't accept him now, eventually it would all be worth it. Sooner or later, that little boy would belong to her. Finally, the kind of villain our boy has no chance of defeating, if you know what I mean. Meanwhile, in a nearby hospital, man, there's a swarm of doctors rushing in to try and save Wang Zuan. Well, doctors, right? It's really just a bunch of healers blasting him with every healing spell they've got. Everyone's saying that damn Zhu Yi took the fight way too seriously and almost killed the poor guy. If it weren't for the arena's protective magic barrier, he wouldn't even be alive right now. The staff apologizes to their leader, who just says there's nothing they can do. Zhu Yi was simply too strong. Looks like this time they'll have to settle for third place. One of the team members is confused, saying, why? We can still beat the Madu clan. But the leader reminds him, without Wang Zuan, they don't stand a chance. And now he doesn't have any of his robots left. Lying on the stretcher, Wang Zuan's crying, saying that once he reaches his second awakening and gets the S+ rank mechanical heart, he's going to win. Back to the delusional dad, he's now apologizing to our boy, saying he misjudged the power of a holy knight. He never imagined someone could have so much strength, healing, and damage all at once. But Zhu Yiva isn't in the mood for chit-chat and tells him to get to the point. So the man says he spoke with the elders of the family, and if Zhu Yi came back to them, he wouldn't just get support from his branch, but from the entire Zhao family, including the Xiao elders, the most powerful of them all. Under normal circumstances, such an offer would never be made. But with our boy's potential, they agreed. Now Zhu Yi starts thinking maybe it's not such a bad option. The only problem is leveling up with Wang Hui had been amazing. That guy helped him rake in tons of XP. So he tells the guy it's a shame to disappoint him, but he has zero interest in switching classes. The guy looks crushed, asking if the Xiao family really has no hope of reaching glory again. He's over there banging his head against the wall, so Zhu Yi says he does know someone with an extremely pure ice bloodline. Maybe she'd be willing to join. But the guy says it can't be just anyone, it has to be someone with an insanely high purity, like Zhu Yi himself. Then our boy straight up starts selling out his sister, saying her purity is 3 times higher than average. Suddenly the guy's face completely changes. Now he's all happy, asking if that's really true. Zhu Yi just nods, and the man starts jumping with joy, shouting that finally the ancestors would be proud again. Our boy tells him to calm down a bit. He hasn't even talked to his sister about it yet, so it's not like she's accepted anything. Still, it would be the best choice, for her, at least. Zhu Yi doesn't care much because he already has the system and Wang Hui's help, but for her, it'd be a whole different story. She'd gain access to tons of resources. So he calls her, and she picks up with Gray the dog on the video call. Honestly, I'd forgotten that dog even existed. She's there spinning the poor dog around, saying that everyone saw his big win, and now all the girls at school are asking for Zhu Yi's number. Girl, at school, you were passed out until 5 minutes ago. What friends, you lunatic. Still, she says she's not giving his number to anyone. If someone wants to date Zhao Yi, they have to be extremely strong. And look at that rascal Zhu Yi, already imagining Jiang all buff and ripped. He says he's gonna get straight to the point and starts explaining about the Zhao family offer. He tells her they could get any book she wants. Ice Archer, Ice Swordswoman, Ice Mage. You name it. This is an inclusive story, folks. Even if you've got Alzheimer's, the author will remind you. Because yes, it was already crystal clear that she was gonna choose Ice. And yep, she picks Ice. So our boy explains that if she accepts the Zhao family's offer, she'll have to study with them for 3 years. Like what, bro? But she's super excited, not even fazed by anything, saying not to worry. She's not gonna hold him back or mess up his life. He just says, all right then, and offers to take her to the district himself. And with that, we're back to the competition, round 4. From now on, there would start to be rewards, and the first prize was an S-rank mana potion. The audience is in awe at how generous that is. Jiang points out that last year, the final prize was that potion, so it looks like this year will be way better. Zhao Yi reminds her that's because monster invasions are increasing. They're deliberately giving out more and more items to encourage people to fight. Then the announcer bot says that anyone who makes it to the semifinals will win a weapon forged by the master of the Alliance, Pi Jun. Zhou Yi knows what's up. Legendary rank items are the maximum a human can forge. Anything higher than that, only left behind by the gods. Obviously, this just makes all the players more greedy than ever. Jiang waves goodbye to our boy, saying she's rooting for him. Back in the arena, a green-haired guy approaches. He puts on a hat and says he knows just how strong Zhou Yi is, but he's not weak either. Oh buddy, that's the exact phrase the weakest guy ever would say. Apparently, since level 1, this lunatic has dumped all his stat points into strength. He likes to fight by landing one big hit and winning. But as soon as the match starts, Zhao Yi charges in with his hammer. The guy, sticking to his signature strategy, stomps the ground and lunges in close. He unleashes a vicious flurry of slashes. I thought Zhao Yi would dodge. But no, they're actually going head-to-head. The hammer and sword clash. But unfortunately, my guy, you're not the protagonist. You go flying. The poor dude's lying there wondering how this is possible. He's dumped everything into strength. How does someone at a similar level hit harder than him? Well, buddy, your plan wasn't that bad. It's just, he's the main character. There's really nothing you can do. But the crowd's getting suspicious, saying something's off of Zhu Yi. It should be impossible for Brother Shang to lose in a pure strength match. That blonde kid with glasses says that to beat him like that, Zhu Yi would need to have at least 450 points in strength. And combining that with the intelligence he clearly needed to do that cyclone earlier, something's not right. He asks the guy next to him if he thinks he has a chance of beating Zhu Yi. And bro, this poor dude says that out of 10 fights, he'd win 3. Considering he already admitted defeat, it's more like, out of 10,000 fights, he'd win -3. Green hair gets back up, saying no, he hasn't lost yet. As long as he's standing, he's not defeated. Zhao Yi praises him, saying he's truly a real man. And in that moment, the guy charges with a flying air punch. But our boy's not holding back. The dude comes in with a punch and takes a full-on hammer shot to the chest. Gets flattened into the arena. His teammates are shouting at the system to declare the match over. And since the guy got turned into a pancake, the machine finally announces Zhao Yi as the winner. In the stands, the girls are yelling they love Zhao Yi, while the medics are just feeling sorry for anyone who has to fight this holy night. One day later, the head of Kang Academy says that 2 students have made it into the quarterfinals. He tells Song Xiaolan, one of the girls who advanced, that he's impressed she made it this far. He adds that he thinks her chances of continuing are extremely low, but she should give it her best shot. Damn, man. Was that roast really necessary? Looks like our dear succubus ended up facing some guy named Wai Hai and lost. Apparently, this dude is being considered a future champion. Well, maybe that's for the best, right? Our boy didn't have to fight her, and now he gets to beat the guy who beat her. Win-win. Still, the team leader says they got a shot at coming back through the loser's bracket. 2 slots will be available. While they wait, they're counting on Zhu Yi to bring home first place in the solo competition. Of course, the guy says, yeah, I got that covered. Tomorrow, there will be 2 group matches, but against normal schools, so nothing to worry about. Apparently, the substitutes are going to handle those normal schools. You know, those weirdos over there? Or maybe I read that wrong, but it sure looks like that's the plan. Back on the couch, Jiang is anxious, hoping to climb back up in the loser's bracket. This was her chance to get back into the competition and win in S-rank equipment. Even for super influential families, gear of that quality is hard to come by. At that moment, the team leader tells our boy that now that his strength has been exposed, he should lay low and avoid training too much. Otherwise, he might become a target. Right then, a couple girls walk past the door and freeze stunned, saying they're seeing a literal god. Man, not just 2 anymore, a whole crowd starts forming. They can't believe they're actually seeing him in the flesh. Our boy, though, awkward as ever, is facing the one enemy he truly doesn't know how to beat and just asks, who are you? The girls blush, stepping closer, saying they're fans and want autographs. They're holding multiple posters of him in different poses, telling him he's going to have to sign all of them. But he's completely lost, has no idea where they even got those pictures from. Jiang, meanwhile, is on the couch looking crushed, the expression of someone who's just witnessed her man being stolen right in front of her eyes. And then bam, the devil version of herself whispers in her ear, "You're gonna let them snatch Zhu Yi from you like that." If she couldn't keep up with him, she would be left behind. Jiang's talking to herself, saying she'll win this next match no matter what. Though honestly, I don't think that demon voice was talking about this kind of competition, girl. But that's Zhang's goal. She's gonna fight to stay at his side. The spicy succubus is just watching silently, while Zhao Yi starts getting the chills. The second part of round 4 is about to begin. Everyone is teleported into the middle of a forest, wondering why it has to be so different every year. Last time it was a castle. The time before that, I controlled robots. One mage mutters that this whole random setting system is what makes everything so unpredictable. Meanwhile, Jiang already has her hand on her sword. Anyone who moves is getting sliced. The little robot hovers over and tells everyone to calm down. This was the Lost Forest. Every half hour, monsters would spawn around the area. Their objective, kill as many monsters as possible. The 2 people with the highest kill count will advance to round 5 of the solo tournament. Everyone's smiling, but Jiang notes that deep down, they're all tense. Suddenly, a purple mist appears, signaling the first monster wave. Everyone gets ready, but weirdly, nothing shows up. Then behind Jiang, a guy starts scratching his neck. She feels something strange and looks back, and holy hell, the dude's entire body is sprouting mushroom spores, and he's coming toward her with a massive distorted hand. But suddenly, he vanishes. A voice echoes from the forest, contaminated, exiled. The problem? No one even saw those monsters approach. And now, one by one, everyone around her is getting forcefully logged out. She calms herself, trying to figure out what's going on. Then plop, something lands right on her shoulder. Obviously, it's one of those freaky mushrooms. She immediately activates her succubus fireblood to burn it away. The girl's already starting to transform. That's when you know things are getting serious. But then, out of nowhere, she starts shouting at everyone to surround themselves with energy and eliminate the creatures before they get contaminated. Did she forget this is a competition? Thank God everyone's so dumb that even with all that, they were still dying left and right. At least a few mages had some sense and started setting themselves on fire to stay safe. Poor Jiang, she's got demon lineage but acts like an angel. Meanwhile, our boy, who's got angel blood, acts like a total demon. But Jiang quickly realizes the mushroom spore things weren't giving any points, so she had to find the real creatures. Deep in the trees, she detects a few big-headed freaks. She immediately activates her bloodline, dashes in, and slices the first one. Even though the monsters had some OP ability, they were kind of weak overall. So she charges toward a few more, and slash, down they go. Meanwhile, back in the arena, a match is going down between a university team and the Sukang substitutes. Everyone's diving in, throwing magic, launching torpedoes, spitting fire. Mechs jumping in, slashing here, punching there. Then suddenly, bam, a volley of arrows heads straight for one of them. But that golden shield appears out of nowhere. Yep, our boy from the main team had to step in and save the goofballs. And of course, he takes the moment to scold the priestess in the back, telling her she's not providing the protection they need. The poor girl's all flustered, apologizing. On the other team, the red-haired girl and the samurai dudes are pissed. They're like, what's this clown doing? Acting like it's a training session instead of a real match. They all charge at once, but Zhu Yi's team suddenly notices. He's just there, chillin', messing with his phone. Turns out he just got a pic from his waifu saying she passed. Damn girl, proud of you. Obviously, that only makes the enemy even more mad. But 2 seconds later, they're all on the ground. That part of the competition wraps up, and the next day it's finally Zhou Yi versus Wai. Oh snap, look at that reporter, bro. His little cap says KK. One more K and we're gonna need historical reparations. He's all excited, narrating the story of our boy who rose from poverty to become the Holy Knight and now faces Wai, who has countless special bloodlines and comes from one of the most powerful families. He winks at the camera and says everyone must be dying to know who'll take the throne of kings. This fight's getting streamed worldwide. Back in the arena, someone's arriving by helicopter. Who is it? Of course, it's our boy and the team leader, as usual, flanked by his harem. I mean, what can I say? It's a harem. What are you gonna tell me it's a tactical team? They do nothing but stand there like, oh my god, Zhou Yi, you're amazing. On the other side, the team from Manhwa University arrives. Front and center, some blonde dude in a jacket straight out of One Piece. He throws it over his shoulder and slides his arms through the sleeves. Listen up, people, that only looks cool in anime or manhwa. Try that in real life and people will think you're mentally unstable. He walks over to greet the Sukang leader, saying he's excited for a friendly competition. The headmaster says sure, welcome, while thinking how hilarious that this chump actually thinks he's gonna beat Zhou Yi. Our boy's humility has become contagious in the school. Zhou Yi gives the guy a long stare. Yep, that's definitely Wai, the one who smacked our beloved succubus. Oh boy, you laid a hand on her and we didn't even get to see her transformation? Double punishment incoming. Zhou Yi is already smiling like a psychopath. No mercy for this one, folks. The names start getting announced and the crowd is going wild. Over at home, blue-haired dad is watching it all go down on his 130-inch TV. Next to him is one of the Xiao family elders. They tried to make him look old, but if you really look, there's not a single wrinkle on that man's face. Take off the beard and ditch the cane, and he looks exactly like the guy beside him, if not younger. He's clearly worried about Zhou Yi's chances of winning, but Zhou Hang tells him not to stress. He's analyzed all of the kids' matches. There's no one in this world at his age who could beat him. Wai might be a genius, sure, but Zhou Yi is someone standing in the shadow of the ancient ancestors. Back in the arena, someone rushes toward our boy. He's already popped 7 buffs. It's poor Wai, who smacks right into the shield's barrier. The two lock eyes for a second, then Zhou Yi swings the cleaving hammer. Wai dodges, rolls on the ground, and activates Berserker mode. His sword bursts into flames and he unleashes a series of slashes toward Zhou Yi, but our guy's dodging with ease. Now that he knows the guy's a Berserker, the strategy changes. All Zhou Yi has to do is stall for time. Once the buff runs out, the guy's gonna be drained. The moment Wai realizes Zhou Yi is trying to stall, he charges in, shouting that he won't let that happen. Our protagonist grins, as expected of someone with talent. He wasn't going to fall for a basic trick like that. Wai launches a light-infused slash with his flaming sword. This was a level 9 technique he'd been practicing for years. And here comes our boy. Bam, hammer time. I've never seen this hammer lose to a sword. The guy's pouring everything into it and still can't understand why he's losing. Bro, look at your skinny sword. And now look at that hammer-sized truck slap you just took. He gets launched like always. But this time, Zhou Yi's not wasting time. He pulls out the sacred cross and begins the invocation. Wai, however, smirks. He already knew this move was coming. He activates another Berserker skill, Battle Rage. And here comes Zhou Yi's holy finisher. I want to see how Wai plans to survive this. The blondie, not looking too healthy right now. Wai's trying to tank it all on sheer willpower. Oh ho, he forged a full-on armor mid-fight and actually survived. Credit where it's due, that's impressive. The system explains to us that with Battle Rage, all incoming damage is reduced by 80%. The guy charges back in, and Zhou Yi notices he's trying to end this as fast as possible. Zhou Yi could just dodge for 2 minutes, wait for the rage to wear off, then clean up. Easy win. But nah, he doesn't want to win in a boring way like that. He slams Wai with another hammer blow, while Wai's thinking he has to end this quickly. He's up against a Holy Knight, someone with heals, shields, and endless sustain. The longer it drags on, the worse it gets for him. That's why he's going all out from the start. In the crowd, everyone's already figured it out. This is gonna be a fast fight. Neither one of them is holding back. Wai throws another slash. Zhou Yi sidesteps with that clean protagonist move. Then, Lance of Victory, activated. It's coming down hard, but Wai doesn't give a damn. As the attack descends, he throws himself into it headfirst. Literally, a headbutt. This madman's grinning, saying the Lance of Victory is useless. But Zhou Yi, protagonist mode on, activates Storm of Light. Lightning starts pouring down across the entire arena, and now Wai is actually getting nervous. The chain of attacks isn't giving him a single chance to recover. He takes the gamble, rushes in anyway, even though the lightning's still raining down. Of course, he gets struck mid-charge. The light punishment skill is over level 20. Even with 80% damage reduction, he's feeling it. The announcer's screaming that the poor guy's getting bombarded. Meanwhile, Wang Suan, the mechanic kid, is just watching with a smile. Yeah, man. Now the lightning's starting to pierce through. Looking at Zhou Yi right in front of him, Wai was devastated. In theory, he was no more than 10 meters away, but it felt impossible to even get close to that giant. Still, he refuses to accept it and activates one more secret technique. This time, lay to the city of 1,000 shadows. A thick smoke starts spreading through the arena, and our boy's just standing there, confused, wondering where the heck that guy vanished to. Suddenly, he looks to the side, and there's a sword falling. Actually, not just one, a whole storm. It's raining swords. Zhou Yi recognizes the move. It's a technique from a legendary ancestor who could turn their entire body into a sword. Basically, every blade falling is Waggy himself, a technique designed to instantly massacre massive groups. Jiaoyi finally says, "All right then, time to get serious." The swords begin pouring down from the heavens and Zhu Yi stretches out his hand, muttering that the audience would be disappointed if he just repeated an old move. So instead he combines abilities, activating the sacred flame, but with ice mana. Our boy starts stepping forward, freezing everything beneath him, forming a barrier that wraps around the whole arena. And as usual, it's the poor recording drones that suffer the most, glitching out as they try to film it all. Meanwhile, the viewers are all confused. Why is there ice magic happening now? The old man from earlier, who, reminder, barely looks 30 if he's shaved, stands up. All that's missing is Barbie kicking away the cane. He asks out loud, can't they see that's pure, perfect ice magic right in front of them? All the swords Wei summoned, frozen midair. Once everything's turned into popsicles, Zhu Yi just closes his hand, and they all shatter. Plus, there were golden strings attached to all of them. When Waggy's real body finally reappears, it's already completely slashed up. The poor guy collapses to the ground, unconscious, and the victory goes to our beast. The crowd erupts, cheering that their senior is way too good. Jiao Yi even pauses for a little photo op, definitely fishing for more poster material. With that, the solo battles are over, now only the team competition remains. While the teacher praises him, our beloved succubus is twirling her hair, y'all know what that means. But the university headmaster, he's shook. He knows Zhu Yi still has cards up his sleeve, and hasn't even gone full power yet. He claps a big hand on Zhu Yi's shoulder, saying he truly brings honor to Su Kang. That's when the girls reveal. Su Kang always wins the team competition, but never the individual one. So this is the first year they're taking everything home. Giant hugs the mage girl, saying he could cosplay as an archmage now. Then she calls out to our boy with that mischievous little look, saying, "Tonight, we got our lax Hild." Unfortunately, no matter how much malice you try to inject into that line, y'all know what's gonna happen. They're just walking together through the streets, arm in arm. That's the peak, the max, at least for now. Still, there are some random dudes worse off than our MC, just eating meat skewers, drooling over how hot that chick is. And then one bold fool decides to hit on the succubus, saying he can't pass up this chance. She's one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen. Boot, she gives him one look. He gives up instantly, bro. The moment he realizes it's Miss Wei, he backs down like a toddler seeing the belt. They head over to a little stall to sit and chill. Jang runs into a shop and buys what looks like an agility potion. Oh wait, nah, it's a wine that increases agility. Of course. So our boy starts drinking with his waifu, who congratulates him for placing first. They clink glasses, take a sip. She says the flavor's amazing. 10 minutes later, she's slumped, all wobbly, completely drunk, asking why she's seen two of him. Jiao Yi realizes the city wine with agility buffs is way stronger than usual. He expects to go find the rest of the crew so they can head out. But then, bam, an e-girl latches onto his arm. Man, she came in swinging with a mountain-crushing grip. Careful, Zhu Ye, you're gonna end up with a fractured collarbone. And she's already saying her cup is empty. Would he mind buying her a drink? Our humble lad replies that he just bought a bottle, and if she wanted some, it cost her 10,000 yuan. She laughs, saying he's funny and interesting. Maybe they could go somewhere a little more exciting to talk. That alone was enough to shake Jiang Fai. I don't know if she's about to go full combat mode or just give up entirely. She comes in with the double-handed approach, ready to eat the competitor off the battlefield. But the e-girl speaks up, saying, if you're not his girlfriend, maybe don't get in the way of someone else's luck tonight. Oh boy, this wasn't random at all. She knew exactly who Zhu Yi was, and she knew exactly who Jiang Su was too. She had her charm aura activated. Dangerous. She knew this was the perfect timing, right before the two of them officially become a couple. And just as she's reaching out to touch our boy, Zhou Yi grabs Jiang Su's hand, pulling her close and says, if it's her, I don't mind her interrupting my romance. Then he turns and walks away, casually tossing over his shoulder. That girl had a kind of bland look anyway. Not worth the effort. Oof. Sorry, e-girl. You might have had all the charisma, confidence, and main character swag. But when you're going up against a succubus with an evolution, it's game over, sweetheart. Better luck next arc. As the two of them walk off, Zhang stops him and says, wait. She places her hand on his arm and says, like this video that helps Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers, activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.